But yeah, sorry, it cut out another ad. But so yeah, the 6, their line of integration is to the 9, and they are, the 9 is the peacemakers, so they're supposed to be learning how to relax and have faith in their own judgment and like the answers that they come to. And just me personally as a 5, I'm so driven to look for my own answers that it took me a long time to really see the bigger picture of, you know, where I'm supposed to build my castle, so to speak, where it still is congruent with what they're doing, and how to not be kind of bombarded by these questions all the time. But because it's really hard for them to quell that anxiety if they don't get an answer, and they're not going to get an answer from someone else is the problem. And there's 2 different directions. There's the phobic, which is the person that kind of stays to themselves, or, you know, like the look both ways before you cross the street, always like double check, you know, thinking. And then the counterphobic 6, that's like, there's traffic, I'm just going to run straight across, and like, because I'm afraid of getting hit, you know, or, you know, if they're in a war, they'd be more likely, you know, they probably just shouldn't be there. Unless they've learned how to, you know, use that effectively. So, and then the next you have is the type 7, which they are afraid of not having fun, basically. Like, they always want to be entertained. They want something to occupy their time. They're always thinking about the next thing that could be fun, and they're not enjoying what's happening at the moment. So even when they're getting to do something they thought was fun, it could be, you know, the things that are the most psyched up and, you know, fun thing to do in the world. But while they're there, they're thinking about the next time, about like, okay, I finally got here and this is fun, but I'm not going to be able to do this after I leave. So, you know, what's my next trip going to be? You know, and so on and so forth. With, you know, again, they are also supposed to be learning how to, you know, relax, but in a different way, you know, enjoy the present moment, like the individual steps, the journey, and not, you know, just the destination is the big lesson with them. And then you got the 8s next, which are the called the challengers, and we've at this point returned back to where the actions triad is, and they are like, they're trying to avoid other people having power control over them. So they learn a lot of things like, you know, martial arts, a lot about weapons, and, you know, tactics, you know, strategies and stuff to make sure that someone else won't ever have the upper hand, which is what the 5 is supposed to grow towards. But, you know, it's, you know, the ability to take these things and enact their will and make sure they're in control, like out in the world. Which can be confused also with the 6, because they, especially the counterphobic, because they will so much like try to push or pit themselves up against what they're afraid of to show that they aren't afraid. But Yeah, the difference is like the 8 is coming from more of a place of, it's a constant thing that they're always like working on to make sure they really have the tools to go into it, whereas the 6 is always operating just on the fear or anxiety. So as the fear comes up, you know, they immediately like charge against it. And that's not to say that a 6 can't plan, because they are right next to the 5 and they can kind of pull from some kind of an influence there. But mostly the tendency is just to, you know, try to just run straight through it when it comes up. So this may not always be accurate, but I picture it sometimes as like when the badass comes into the, you know, martial arts movie and you have all the people that kind of just run at him, but he's kind of just like throwing them everywhere. The people that he's throwing everywhere are probably 6s, and the 8 is like the, you know, the badass that's throwing them everywhere. So then the 9 is the peacemaker, as I said before. And what they're afraid of is conflict happening. So they will learn how to be the other types to be able to like emulate them temporarily to be able to avert conflicts from happening in the first place.